Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Scientist Safe Farmer. Today, we're talking about getting the baler all cleaned out and ready to be put away for the winter. So let's get started. It's a really windy day out, and I'm afraid if I stand out by the baler too much, I'm going to pick up a lot of wind noise. It's right behind me, and I don't want you to hear the whole time. It's the end of the baling season. You're done. You're ready to put it away for the winter. Some of you guys who are a little newer to this might have some questions on exactly what should be done. So we're going to go over that. The very first thing you want to do is get your baler completely cleaned out. Open up every access panel, take a leaf blower or something if you got it, blow all the dust out, get all the chaff out, anywhere you can. That loose hay, dust, and chaff, that will hold and collect moisture and hold it against your metal. You want to get that out of there so it doesn't cause it to rot and rust over the winter. Not to mention you'll have all that gross rotten chaff come next spring. Second thing you want to do is go and get all of your zerks greased. That way you've got nice fresh grease sitting in there over the winter to keep everything lubed up and it's ready to go for the spring. Also, the reason we do that is because we are going to be cycling the baler a few times, actually running it hooked up to the PTO, and we're going to cycle the knotters to get out a bale of hay, which I'm going to talk about in a second. And if we have the knotters all greased up before doing that, it's going to allow the grease to get worked all the way through those as well, so they are fully coated. Third, while it's running, we're actually going to grease up the chains or spray some chain lubricant on them so the chains have some nice lube going into the winter so they don't get dry and rust out. And finally, we're going to empty the bale chamber. Not the bale chamber, I'm sorry. The bale chute, right here. A lot of guys leave their hay in the bale chute over the winter, and that's not really a great practice because that hay will store moisture and collect moisture as well and hold it against the metal sides of your bale chute. So it really is a good idea to get that out of there so it's completely open and it can stay dry and not rust up on you over the winter. So what I've gone ahead and done already is I've greased all of my knotter zerks, and for that matter, I've actually gone and greased everything around the baler. Now, if you're not sure where all to grease on the baler, there are a lot of grease points. You should check your owner's manual to know for sure exactly where to do that. This is a video about putting your baler away after the season, which means you have been using it for an entire season, so hopefully you are already aware of all the points to grease your baler. Otherwise, your baler might not last you very long. So the next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to get this bale of hay cleaned out of here. And this is like this because my horses have actually been getting some snacks out of there. The first thing you want to do is first loosen up on your tensioners. Make sure all of the tension is completely taken out of the bale chute. And then we are going to start the baler up and we're going to come back. We're going to trip the knotters. My knotter is already tripped, so what's going to happen is as soon as I fire the baler up, the needles are going to come up and tie a knot. And the idea that we're going for here is this partial bale is going to be completely tied off. And so if it's a loose enough bale and your bale chamber is loose enough, we should just be able to grab it by the twine here and pull it straight out. Now, if you have a tight enough bale in there, that may not work, and you'll be forced to cut the strings here and just reach your hand in there, just start pulling it out. What I do too is I take my hands and kind of just shove the hay forward like this, flake by flake, and then I just pull all the flakes out the back. It's not rocket science. Don't make it rocket science. So let's get the tractor fired up. So right away, as soon as I fired the baler up, it tied a knot. Now, it should be worth saying that you want to make sure your baler is in field position before you do this. Not a good idea to run the PTO when it's in road position. So pull it out, take the time to get the baler opened up. You don't need to run it at a real high RPM. I'm just kind of running it in an idle. You don't need to be working the crap out of it to just do this. Before I shut the baler down and pull that bale out of the bale chamber though, I'm gonna go ahead and spray all the chains. And I'll take you along with me to do that. So with our baler chains all lubed up now, I've got the machine shut back off. We're gonna see if we can pull this bale right out of the bale chamber. And I may not be able to do it with just one hand holding it while filming. Let's try it. This bale is in there too tight. It won't pull out. It's a pretty big one. It's basically a full-size bale, even though it's really loose. So then option B is to just cut your twine. I like these. Cut it anywhere you got it. It's a big, loose, poopy bale because it was the last one to come through. Now once you've got it cut, let's just set that right there. Now you can just pull it out flake by flake like this and come up here. Just take your loose flakes, kind of break them apart little by little. Just push them to the back. Come to the back and just slide them up the bale chamber, not the bale chamber, the bale chute. Come up and pull more out. Until the very last of it is out. Now what this is going to be is horse chow. This hay in here it does feel kind of damp. It is damp. Well, I can't tell if it's damp or just cold, but nonetheless, it's not something we want to keep in there. With all the hay out, we have a real nice clean bale chamber. Bale chamber and bale chute, you can see all the way in there. And that is going to ensure we've got a really clean machine that's not going to store any unnecessary moisture in there and rust up the bale chute prematurely. So if you had not tripped the knotters before you cut the twine, you're gonna have to rethread the needles. To do that, your twine is gonna be coming out of the twine box here. It's gonna run down through some kind of insulator or stop there. Your baler application may be different. It's going to run down behind your needles, or behind this needle frame arm, and then it's going to run up in an insulator behind the needle. It's going to run through the needle. Now, because I tripped the knotters on mine before I cut the string, the twine is already going up to the knotters. but if not, if you cut it before you tripped them, you will need to rethread the needles. And so you'll run your twine through the needle here, and then you'll just take it and tie it off to some part of the baler frame like this. Try to back up for some perspective. Just tie it off in some kind of knot there. So what'll happen is it'll stay here, stay attached here. Then you go back up, start the baler up at low RPM, and just come up and you will pull the knotter arm up. And what that's going to do is it's going to feed the needles up through the knotters, and it's going to restring your twine in there. And there you have it. That's really all I do to get my baler ready for winter. Grease it. You might wash it down if you want to, just don't get any water on the knotters or any grease sensitive areas or areas where the water will not dry out easily. Lubricate your chains and clean out the bale shoe. And then I just back it in back to the shed after I put it back into field position. Back it in, cover it up with a tarp, kiss it goodnight, and then look forward to good times with it next spring. Hope this was useful. I'll be making more videos throughout the winter on how to do various things to this, so stay tuned. If you like this type of content, be sure to like and subscribe, blah, 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 blah. And if you want to know when I post new videos, then be sure to hit the little notification button, which is the little bell that will show you every time I make a new video. Anyway, happy farming, guys, and I'll see you later.